Hi guys, welcome to Office Blokes React. I'm Office Bloke Dave.
I'm Office Bloke Mike.
I'm Office Bloke Daz.
Collectively, we are the Office Blokes.
Yep.
And what we've got going on at the moment, Mike? Anything interesting?
We've got a Patreon channel, if you're interested. Go and have a look at Patreon.
that was so motivational and exciting. Like,
Office Blokes React. If you want to support the channel for just £1.50 a month, it's our cheapest tier. We've got loads of stuff on there, exclusive content, do weekly exclusive stuff actually, don't we? For patrons only, for channel members.
Try and do a couple of extra reactions every week on there,
which no one else can see. So why don't you go down there and check it out?
The recent one is that Maori Povich. The phobias one we did the other day. Outright blocked on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's straight over to Patreon. There was a good one as well. I feel like there was a bit of good laughing on that one.
Yeah, I was actually go and have a look at that one.
Yeah, nice one. Right then, what is March Madness?
No idea.
Do you know what it is, Dave?
It's a basketball thing, isn't it?
Yeah. For what?
That's the extent of it.
They go mad in March.
Is it the end of the season?
No, it's the NCAA.
Right.
It's not NBA.
Right. Okay.
College.
Oh, college.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And so is it the end of
it's like the FA Cup for college. College basketball.
Right.
And is that for the whole of March, or does that culminate in March?
Well, you get to see I'm not sure if it's for the whole of March, but it's definitely March Madness is when they all start playing loads of games against each other, and it ends sort of like with the final four.
It sort of like tends to lead you to believe that it's a bit frantic and a bit, a lot going on there. Yeah. So I guess that's what it's like.
It only ends in the final four, then Duke win it. No, I'm kidding.
All right.
Duke don't win it. I know.
It's all good getting people triggered in the comments.
It's very easy to do
for the algorithm.
Yeah, very easy to do. But yeah, it's a college basketball event where I think you get everyone from the lower end to the higher end playing each other, getting drawn against each other. It's like the FA Cup,
a bit like cup match of it.
Yeah, correct. That's exactly.
Did you draw anyone?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Good stuff.
I wonder if it's got the same.
I think you have seeds, but then it's
fair enough. Yeah.
I wonder if it's got the same financial connotations for lower clubs.
Colleges.
But they're still people still pay for tickets for college basketball.
I don't know where that money goes.
I know the players don't get paid, do they?
I don't know where that money goes, so people will let us know in the comments. That's all as far as I know about March Madness.
Right.
I've never dug deep into it, so I watched it and I bet on it. It's a big gambling thing.
Right. So okay. I've heard Andrew Schultz talk
anything you can bet on, I'm in. Sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is the video. It's just us debating what March Madness could be. We're not going to find out.
Going to tell us in a minute.
Probably a play, and it'd be something to do with some shopping.
Home shopping network.
Big sale now
on Friday. Just before Easter.
Let's do it then. What is March Madness?
Oh, they've done it! It's Virginia. They've won the NCAA basketball tournament, the March Madness. And wait, hold on. That's not right. March Madness takes over the U.S. sports cycle every year.
He looks like a non-tiny person version of Brad Williams.
He does, doesn't he? Yeah.
Like the regular size version.
But it was fun size Brad Williams, wasn't he? He's regular size.
Yeah. A lot of people ask me what exactly it is, and so that is what I'm going to explain. What it is, how it's put together, and why it's so dang captivating, so that maybe March Madness, which is going on right now, is something that you can pay attention to, because who doesn't want more fun sporting events in their life? March Madness is just a catchy name. What you actually have in March Madness is a college basketball tournament. What I'm going to set off to one side is why college sports are so important in the United States. Just work under the assumption that they are for their own unique reasons, because professional sports, with the exception of baseball, arrived in the United States late, which means college sports were the main attraction. The biggest American football stadiums are all for college sports, and tens and tens and tens of millions of people will watch this college basketball tournament, and 100 million brackets will be filled out for this college basketball tournament. The only mistake you can make here is assuming...
Is that betting? When he says hundreds of millions of brackets will be... Is that like betting terminology? I don't know what that means.
I think so.
United States late, which means college sports were the main attraction. The biggest American football stadiums are all for college sports, and tens and tens and tens of millions of people will watch this college basketball tournament, and 100 million brackets will be filled out for this college basketball tournament. The only mistake you can make here is assuming that they're like a reserves tournament. It's more similar to the FA Cup if you just don't allow the Premier League teams to participate. It has the tenure and it has that kind of captivating charm of the underdog, the Cinderella story that all of the United States is looking for. Players are made in singular moments in this tournament that will last them a...
You know who that is on the left, right?
Yeah. Steph Curry.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. These are the ones where you're coming through the college side of it all. So that like it's like a showcase for them as well.
Yeah.
Right.
We reacted to a video where I think we watched one. I want to say it was... I think it might have been Duke we were watching, which I think are North Carolina, aren't they? Or is it not? No. Duke in North Carolina?
I'm not sure.
Someone will tell us anyway. I'm not 100% sure. But they were playing in Sky Blue, unless that's just called North Carolina.
Right.
And they had one player playing, and I said, "This kid looks really, really good." Do you remember? And we watched him on a couple of games, and I said, "Look at him." I said, he was the standout of them all. Might have been watching it with Aiden at home. Now I'm thinking about it.
Watching it at home on your phone.
But I'm watching it, and we picked out this one kid who was really, I can't remember his name now, but whoever we were watching it with, someone said, I think it might have been Aiden, he said they reckon he might be the number one draft. For that for the season coming up, and I can't remember if it was this season or last season.
Right, okay.
I can't remember his name, and I don't know whether it was last season or this season coming up.
Right, okay.
Draft. We'll find out because we're going to react to the draft in basketball as well.
Yeah,
absolutely. Big time.
It wouldn't have been us you watched it with because neither of us would have said he's going to be the number one draft.
No.
Yeah, maybe.
Definitely not.
Matt said he's all right.
Yeah, pretty good him. Yeah, he looks all right.
He's not bad him.
Good at bouncing the ball.
Yeah.
A lifetime, and American sports fans will remember for the rest of their lives. So let's start at the very beginning. College basketball is about 350 teams at the top level, and these are actual four-year institutions that kids like me, you, anybody else would go to school. All 350 of these are sorted into 32 conferences. Think of them as leagues, where you have La Liga, you've got the Premier League, you have in the United States the ACC, the Atlantic Coast Conference, which covers teams on the East Coast, or the Big Ten, which is by and large a Midwestern conference, as you can see, or the Big 12, which is the South Central Conference, or the SEC, the Southeastern Conference, which takes up the Southeast. They're all loosely regional and allow these colleges to play against each other. There are 6 conferences, some of which I've already named, that are considered power conferences, and that's where the majority of the big teams will play in. There's then a next tier of conferences where you have your mid-majors, and then about half the conferences where you have colleges and universities of just a few thousand kids and less resources to invest in the team. Those are the small majors. We put those at the bottom of this basketball pyramid. Each team is composed of 15 players, and they are only allowed to attend school for 4 years. There are various little rules, such as injury exemption, that allow them to play for an extra year or 2, but by and large, they'll be on the team for 4 years as freshmen, sophomores, juniors, or seniors. And if you watch March Madness, if you watch college basketball, you'll hear players referred to as, "Oh, he's an incredible freshman," or "What an experienced senior." These are 18 to 22-year-old kids, depending on what that age is. So freshman's 18 to 19, sophomore 19 to 20, and you can work out the rest. Each one of these teams plays through a 4-month season. The first 2 months, you're playing against teams from other conferences, from other leagues. So you'll have things like the Big Ten ACC Challenge, where a Big Ten school plays an ACC school, and there's pride on the line and those sorts of things. This starts in November. And if we have a timeline here, by the time you get to January, you now enter your conference play. And that means you're playing within your league for the rest of the season. If we take the ACC, for example, you play 20 conference games. So you can see the conference record.
Funny that first 2, University of North Carolina and Duke.
Yeah.
So we mentioned before, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know where Duke is then. I think this guy must have been playing for the University of North Carolina because it was like a sky blue colour,
right?
And it looks like Duke playing like a darker blue there, doesn't it?
Possibly, yeah.
But he was a very, very talented player when I watched him. I just can't remember his bloody name.
Yeah.
It's so complicated, isn't it? And I'm sure it's not that complicated. No. It's just on such a grand scale where there's that many leagues.
It's just
playing,
huge. It's huge.
And then the fact that one conference can play another conference, and then presumably they all get together for March Madness to some degree.
But it's like I say, if you look at the FA Cup in the early rounds, when the FA Cup starts, what you got to remember is the big teams don't come in the FA Cup to the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Right. So if you go prior to that, to this first round, then you've got the qualifying rounds. So you can have teams like, I think Withenshaw Town were in it here for a long time.
They
went through to many rounds, and then it goes through I think you've got to qualify through the FA Vars or the FA Trophy to go into the FA Cup and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of similar sort of setup.
Yeah.
So you've got tiny little towns that are playing here. Who could, in theory, get lucky and go through. There's always, when you get to the 4th, 5th round of the FA Cup, there's always one like non-league team still in there.
There's usually, isn't there?
There's usually one or two in there.
The only slight difference with the FA Cup is none of the Premier League teams are seeded. No one's seeded at any time, are they?
No.
I think League Cup, they have a seeding system, don't they?
Don't think so.
I thought they did.
No, I think it's all
is it
drawn out of a hat.
Oh, is it? I thought in the early stages they might have done. Right, I could be wrong on that one.
Yeah, it's what they do is the League Cup, they don't come into the 4th round because if you're in Europe.
Maybe that's what I'm
that's
thinking
on the
of.
European teams.
Because some are in it first, aren't they? All right, that's what I'm thinking of.
But like he said, this is the FA Cup taking out the Premier League teams because it's college football.
You haven't got the Lakers or anything in here. Or
because it's college.
College,
taking out the professional sort of.
But these are the kids who are going to go from these colleges into the NBA.
This is where they'll pick them from,
This is where they're going to get them from,
It's just mad if there's, 350 teams?
More than that one, was it 371 or something?
Yeah, it's a big amount, it's quite a lot.
Full of, I don't know how big the rosters are of the kids that play on these
15
teams.
players, he said.
15, but then you're going to have, I presume there's more than 15 people on the team for that college.
No, because there's only 5 that play.
So there's literally 15 kids out of that whole college.
That's the way I took it. As he's saying,
same here. Yeah,
right.
There's only 5 on the court, isn't there, for your team?
Yeah.
So if you've got almost got 3 teams with the reserves, and then they let people come in for injury or they play on for the 4 years over.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way I understood it.
I'm sure they have like a reserve team, don't they? Like a squad.
Well, that's a part of that 15. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I think you pick 15 players, and that's your team. That's it.
Yeah.
Or your squad.
Just thinking of how many of these kids out there are fighting for a place in the NBA.
I think what you'll find then is some of them will go to different schools where they know they're going to get on the team.
Yeah.
So, and then the best players obviously go to the better teams that are known for basketball, like Duke and UNCs and places like that.
It's a lot. I mean, if you say 15 per team and 350 teams, that's. I just worked it out in my head and I forgot it. So it's about 5,000 kids.
4,500, isn't it? Just over, yeah.
Yeah. Mm. All fighting for like how many places in the NBA? Like
I don't even know how many people make it from.
A few hundred,
I mean, they all. I guess the whole NBA. I imagine a majority of them would have come through some kind of like university of in the college in the USA. But then you've got European players, you've got overseas Chinese.
Yeah, true.
Cool.
Whatever his name was, he was big and Sunsuke Combo, whatever his name is.
Yeah, that's the one.
Giannis, we'll call him.
Yeah, that's the easy one.
Third of each of the teams in the ACC this year. Duke went 16-4, NC State went 4-16, and if you finish at the top of your conference, congratulations, you've won the regular season conference title, and that is one trophy you get to keep. But we're not done. This league table is used as seeding for a conference tournament. We'll just keep using the ACC as an example, but this is happening in different conferences of different sizes between 8 and 16 teams all around the country. This is the full bracket for the ACC Men's Basketball Championship. My school, Virginia, finished as the 6th best team, and so we got to wait a game before Louisville and Georgia Tech found out who won. You see how you figure out how to make a tournament no matter how many teams you have? You just add these extra play-in games and then bracket it up, and off you go.
That's what I thought he meant before when he was saying brackets. Different teams are playing different people into the brackets to go through to the next rounds. And you're going to have so many. That's what he's saying. You've got tens of thousands of brackets.
Yeah.
That's what, because I've never heard it as a betting term, but you're obviously going to bet on the bracket because whoever wins, you want to.
I think he said 100 million brackets, didn't he?
Yeah, he said 100 million.
Just been exaggerating.
Yeah, it must have been.
But the brackets are all going to be going on to who goes through to the next round. It's like, knockout.
Yeah.
As far as, it might be a betting term in the USA. I've never heard of it as a betting term.
Maybe we just missed the exaggeration in his voice. It didn't seem like he was joking, but
for betting, I you know what it's like when I'm betting on football. I bet on for a number of the throw-ins, how many yellow cards, what time's the first corner going to be.
Yeah,
I bet on all kinds of shitty stuff like that. But I'm not sure what you can bet on March Madness. I've only bet per team in the past.
Yeah,
and by points.
I'm sure you can,
point spread and stuff like that.
I'm sure you can get more specific.
Oh, I'm sure you can.
Yeah.
Do you know the amount of nowadays with betting, the amount of dunks you're going to see, the amount of layups you're going to see, the amount of points one player's going to score.
Yeah,
you get them all.
You then play this tournament usually at a location. For the ACC, it's in Brooklyn. So you go up to Brooklyn, you get all the teams together, you play on Tuesday, then Wednesday, then Thursday, then Friday, then Saturday. And at the end of it, one team has won the ACC Tournament Championship. This is more important than the regular season title because this carries an automatic bid for the NCAA tournament. That is March Madness. It is 68 of the best, most rewarded college basketball teams from around the country. They get put into one giant tournament. And you might have figured out at this point that out of all the 32 conferences, there is one automatic bid for each conference. That means the winner of the ACC is automatically in the tournament, but so is the winner of the America East, which you won't hear me say anything about, but Vermont went on to win their tournament title after having an outstanding conference season, as you can see. And that means Vermont, which you've probably never thought about in your life, but is a state and a school, is headed to the NCAA tournament, even though I've not watched them all year. Maybe a conference like the Big Sky out west. Montana State had a great year. They ended up actually winning the tournament as well, defended their regular season title. They're going to March Madness. And in these smaller conferences, that is the drama, because it is very rare from a lot of these conferences to have what you would call a multi-bid league. Because if there's 68 teams in the tournament and only 32 conferences, the rest of the teams in the tournament are decided by what is called the selection committee. And this gets incredibly controversial, but they pick the next best 36 teams in the country to go. And you imagine a lot of these, as you probably figured out, would come from a...
You'd think it'd just be the first and the second team in every conference then.
Yeah, I see what you mean. But you kind of want, like, I mean, you might have had, I don't know, there might have been some kind of reasoning behind certain records. I mean, you've got there, look at UNC and look at Notre Dame, 15-5 in the conference. Overall, 22-10, 24-9, and then home wins, away wins.
But still, to say, the team that came second, you don't get a place, but then the team that came fifth did because of some... It's so open to corruption.
Depending
what controversy.
Depending what conference you're playing, the team that came fifth could, in theory, be miles better than someone that came second in another one because of the quality of the opposition.
Correct.
And the quality of the players in it. So that's what we'll be looking at as well, I guess.
You're saying there, say, Miami, right, might not get in because only the top one goes through, so they're going to go through a selection. But Miami are going to be better than whoever was third in Montana's group.
But let's say, let's go right down there and say Syracuse have got a player that everyone's like, that guy is going to be the next Steph Curry.
Maybe.
Then you can see these guys being like, well, Syracuse needs to go through. This guy needs a platform.
I was just going to say that as well.
So people can see him. Yeah, I get that as well.
That could be I don't know if they work by that rule, because normally that guy who's going to be the next Steph Curry's gone to a different school.
Yeah. I'm sure there's wild cards though. That, some guy from some school that no one's ever heard of just goes.
We're
crazy.
Only speculating on what we think might happen.
It is. You got it right first time. It's brown paper envelopes.
Yeah. We don't know. We don't know. But I just know. I remember it just being a great tournament of being just pure basketball every night.
Yeah.
It was just one after the other, one game after the other, one game after the other.
It's great when you get teams that are potentially no one's ever heard of playing against the top teams, and you can have the upsets that you can have and stuff in any sport.
It's just happened over here. Yeah. It's just happened over here 2 nights ago. Aberdeen, who was a European Cup winner, in Europe, not at the moment. It was a few years ago, back in the 80s. But they're a predominant pro team in Scotland in the Scottish Premier League, and they just got beat by a team that's 5 divisions below them.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't even know what the name is of that team. It was called something like Dulver or something.
Duvney, something was it?
Something like that. Wasn't it?
Yeah,
I
saw it on the But it just shows, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Conference like the ACC, one of the power conferences, of which there is also the Big 12, which is that South Central Conference, the Big East, which is made up of kind of northeastern schools, the Big 10, which we've already discussed, the SEC. There's also the West Coast's Pac-12, and there's a few other conferences that will get a couple of teams in. The American Athletic Conference is one of those in that mid-major of the pyramid. If a team has a good year and doesn't win the tournament, they can get in too. Or the Mountain West, they also could do that too. Or the West Coast Conference, the WCC, they actually got 3 teams in this year. The selection committee sits down on a day called Selection Sunday, and they release the bracket. And the bracket is a beast. I'm going to create a new one on ESPN just so that you can see a visualization. It's broken into 4 different parts, but basically the way the selection committee does it is they make a list of 1 through 68. This includes all of the people that have to be in the tournament, so all the people from the small conferences are going 68 up, and then you slot in the teams that you feel like deserve to be in that didn't win their conference. Once you've slotted them in 1 through 68, they then break out into 4 groups seeded 1 through 16. So the 4 best teams become the 4 1 seeds. The next 4 teams become the 4 2 seeds. The next 4 teams become the 3 seeds, and so on until you get to 16. And then the bracket appears. The matchups are set by that order of 1 through 68. The favorites are there, and the brackets are nice and fun and interactive, so I can just click on all this fun stuff and who I think is going to win, and off we go. Not actually. I have already made my bracket, though. It was very fun on stream.
I've really filled out the bracket by which mascot would win in a fight.
Yeah, true. Blue Jays or Jayhawks? I have no idea. I do think a Hawkeye's got a Jackrabbit beat. Badger cooks a Cyclone could cook a badger too. The Trojan beats the Tiger here. Controversial take. If you're a really intuitive person, you would have realized that brackets can only work out of 60.
Wonder if that's the way the pickers do it. Not heard of him before.
The selection committee.
They've got a cougar, so they must be better than the Pussycats.
4, and I keep saying 68. That's because they hold what is called the first 4. It's the first 4 games on Tuesday and Wednesday before the tournament really starts on Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday and Sunday, and you get the idea. Tuesday and Wednesday, you have 4 play-in games. So there'll be 2 on Tuesday and then 2 on Wednesday. Now, the play-in games are interesting. They are the 4 worst teams in the tournament because you'll notice that 2 of the 16 seeds are contested. This is Wright State against Bryant. This is Texas Southern against Texas Corpus Christi. Those are all 4 conference winners from very small conferences. They have to play each other for the right to even get into the tournament. The other 4 teams that go to the first 4 are actually the last 4 at-large teams. That's the phrase that's used to refer to the teams that didn't win their conference but got in anyways. So the last 4 at-large teams in this case would be playing for a spot as an 11 seed, which would be Rutgers and Indiana, or the last 2 teams in the tournament who are playing for a 12 seed, which there's only 16 seeds in each side. So these are the last 2 teams the committee judged to deserve to be here. That would be Wyoming and Indiana. And so they'll go through their different play-ins, and then on Thursday, it all kicks off. And this is the reason that this is so iconic in the United States. The first tournament was held in 1939, and for the last 36 years, it's been expanded up to 64. It expanded incrementally from 1939, but it's been around for over 80 years as a staple of the U.S. Worth mentioning that Wyoming and Indiana, who we both mentioned, won national titles in the first 5 years that it existed, so history. On that Thursday and then on that Friday, every single one of the teams that you see in this bracket will play 16 games a day, starting at 12 and ending well past midnight. Quite simply, as an American, one of the greatest pair of sporting days of the year, because every single game is the last game of the season for someone. Every single one. Everyone. And the drama
that's what I like about it.
Yeah, knockout.
Yep.
It's great.
Is it in the same location?
No.
The whole thing?
No. The what's it is, yeah, I think that's what you said before, wasn't it? It's all in the same location.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure about the playoffs.
Right.
When you get to them like games where he's talking about the playoffs, I'm not sure about that. I think it's when it only goes to the final 64.
Right.
Is it that I think he mentioned before, it's the same location,
One
didn't
place, yeah, I think so, yeah.
Wow. Must be absolute
It's a lot of
carnage
games.
wherever that is.
Oof, just a bit.
It'd be amazing to sort of like get to the sort of like the final, or even one of the final 4.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course it would, yeah.
I can see why it's such a big deal, though. Like, I've never heard it explained like this. I knew it was to do with basketball. That's literally all I
I've
knew
never
before
heard this
video.
explanation. I've never really been that interested in it, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
To get to sort of like do a deep dive to find out what it is. I only get sort of like involved when it gets like to the Sweet 16 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right, you know, I'm in now. But I mean, you watch the games building up to it, but you really don't. For me, it was more of a betting thing.
Yeah.
You know, sort of like put some bets on, see how I do.
Yeah.
You know, but this is now like it proper opens up a whole different dynamic for me.
Yeah.
When I look at it,
of course
brilliant.
it does.
that creates, especially when you only have 4 years on these teams, and especially if you're a senior, this is the last college basketball game you're going to play. If you lose, your entire career is over. Most of these guys don't make the NBA. Some of them go play overseas. They play in the developmental leagues in the US, but it's over. What's that in the brackets? The brackets are very, very fun to fill out. Unfortunately, at the time you're watching this video, the brackets have all already been filled out. That's so you know I'm not promoting some sort of bracket thing. But since I'm filming this video before, you can see how this would become very fun. And then when you hit a great upset, you say, well, I think Colgate's going to beat Wisconsin. And when it hits, you get something all-time.
So when you said 100 million brackets, it's 100 million possibilities of all the teams that are in that could potentially play each other.
Which is probably about right, isn't it, with all the permutations?
Yeah. So makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah.
Rush. Personally, I always end up in like 3 to 4 different bracket groups, and you just sit there and hold your bracket on those first couple of days hoping it doesn't explode. There's never been a perfect bracket though, and there probably never will be, at least unless somebody figures out a way to computer generate every single iteration of the bracket. But I think it's like a 9 quintillion to 1 chance or something. So I hate math. But this is the last section of why it takes over the United States so much, and it's because the bracket, and it's because it can completely dominate the sports cycle. It is just so darn interesting to watch this sort of dramatic stuff happen on a large scale. The buzzer beaters and those sorts of things, which you can think of as the last second winners, and everything changes and those heroes emerge. The huge upsets. There was a 13 seed that made the final 4 teams of the whole tournament at one point, and people are losing their mind. There always seems to be a team that wins a couple games that nobody sees coming because they have a special player or two that we don't know about until these next couple of days. But that is March Madness. And then over the course of the next 3 weekends, it will end, and we will crown a national championship for college basketball. And in November, the whole process is going to start on over again. And I, for one, am looking forward to it, because Virginia missed the tournament this year. If you're thinking about watching March Madness now, I highly encourage it. It's going on right now as you're watching this video, at least if you're watching it in the first 2.5 weeks that it came out. But seriously, if you're watching it the first 2 days, there's probably a game on right now, or 3, that you could be watching. Even if you don't understand basketball, at least now you know the premise. If you do understand basketball, skip the next 2 minutes. If you don't, stick around. Okay, you ready? The premise of basketball is to put the ball in the hoop. The fouls are similar to soccer/football, where hitting somebody is a foul. Who initiates the contact is the question, much the same as it is in soccer or football. If you put the ball in the hoop from inside the big arc, then it's 2 points. If you put the ball in the hoop from outside the big arc, it's 3 points. And if you get fouled, which, you get fouled while you're shooting the ball towards the goal, then you go to that little line in the middle and you take as many free throws that you would have had for the shot. So if the shot was inside the arc, it's 2 points. If the shot was outside of the arc, then you get 3 shots. They're all worth 1 point. You'll see dudes at the line spinning the ball, and if they hit them both, they're 1 point apiece. That's all the scoring. You have to dribble the ball at all times, or you can't move. You get about 2 courtesy steps, and after that, you have to keep 1 foot planted on the floor. The rest of the time, you're dribbling the ball. You get 5 players on the floor, and you can make changes anytime you want when the play is stopped. So whistle, boom, go make a change. But you keep those 5 players on the floor. Usually one of them's really tall. Usually one of them helps run the offense. But it's pretty fluid. And that is a crash course in basketball in under 2 minutes. So I hope you're able to enjoy March Madness, because it really is one of the most special sporting events, I think, anywhere in the world. As somebody that tries to enjoy all the biggest sporting events in the world, March Madness is right up there for me. So, if you have any questions, hit the comments. I will try my best to answer them. See you on stream.
Great video. Yeah, it was great.
Really good, that.
Yeah.
Well explained.
Yeah, it's sort of like it gave me a lot of information I didn't know.
Yeah, same.
Sort of thing.
Oh, same here, yeah. But it's great concept, isn't it? Like, say, knockout tournaments, absolutely amazing, especially when you've got teams that no one knows about, and you get surprises come along. And surprise players, that's a big thing as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
There will be players at some of those colleges, I suppose, that are really, really good, but have gone under the radar, maybe.
Yeah.
Especially if they're freshmen as well.
Yeah.
So it's that whole new dynamic of that could be your last game ever.
It is, yeah.
You can imagine
crazy. Imagine the emotions and the crying going on.
Yeah. I suppose you don't necessarily know it's your last game, because you may get picked up by someone over the summer after you leave college.
To go where?
Well, like I said, to Europe or to where, you might...
Oh, it won't be your last game ever played. I mean, you'll be playing it. You won't be playing in the NBA is what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's the end of your career.
Yeah, but also I'm sure there's not enough leagues around the world to sustain everyone that's playing there.
No.
So for a lot of people, it is the last game
not top
ever.
league.
You'll still play,
street ball and play with your friends.
Basketball, but I mean, I'm sure they have local teams. I mean, I don't know. Do they have local teams? I'm sure they do, don't they?
Sure they do.
Like we do in Sunday League football and things. I'm sure they have amateur leagues as well, don't they? So
I wonder if anyone's ever been on the winning team and then not been drafted to the NBA.
I'm sure
There's
loads.
probably quite a few.
Yeah, I bet loads.
So imagine winning that and then that being your career over.
I think we mentioned before, on teams, you said, you've got 2 or 3 top players, and not everyone is always at that same level. So
I'm thinking they're all not seniors neither.
True.
So you might have some juniors in that team as well, or even freshmen, sophomores, whatever as well. I'm sure they're not all seniors. Possibility they could be, but I doubt they would be.
Could be a bit of a mix. Yeah, I would guess so. Yeah.
I'm kind of feeling a bit hyped for that now.
I always, my memory was always like, Final Four always had Duke in it, sort of thing, and things like that. It was always similar sort of. I wonder how many colleges like in the USA. I mean, people answer this in the comments. I don't know, but I wonder how many are really good at they dominate 3 or 4 sports. Well, I wouldn't say 3 or 4 sports, but a couple of the big sports.
Yeah.
Do like your American football and your basketball?
Like Michael Jordan,
top teams.
Michael Jordan said he was trying to be a professional baseball player.
He was.
He
was a professional baseball player.
Yeah. So, and you've got people over here like Ronnie O'Sullivan, who was almost a professional soccer football player.
Yeah.
And then went into snooker instead.
Yeah, you got a few people who've done different. I mean, Deion Sanders did 2 sports as well in the USA, but you've got people over here who can do 2 things as well. Gareth Bale's just quit football and he's going to be a golfer.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's playing in the.
I thought you were going to say he's quit golf and gone to play football.
yeah, that as well. Yeah, I mean, he was a top footballer. Obviously, played for top team in the world.
I like to eat a burger and drink a beer at the same time. That's
good at
2 things at once.
You're good at that.
I can do the triathlon, the pub triathlon, Mike.
Yeah.
Darts, pool, and cards.
Yeah.
I'm good at all that.
No dominoes.
Dominoes as well. Sometimes I throw that 4th one in. Depends how much time I've got left.
Wild card.
Reserve sport.
Depends if there's a late bar.
Depends how tired you are.
Yeah. Depends how much money I've won in the other games or lost.
Nice.
But yeah, it's interesting that. So we'll.
It's really interesting. Yeah, it's really well explained that.
I think it was one of the most. In fact, I forgot to subscribe to his channel before I closed it, so we'll have to find that.
The Old Zealand, I think it was called.
But it's probably one of the most interesting, well articulated videos we've done in a while. On a topic that was about 12 minutes, and I listened to the whole thing. I didn't phase out and start thinking about what I'm cooking later.
Exactly.
And none of us really know much about college basketball.
No, nothing really.
Like I said, I've heard about March Madness, but I've never known anything about what it's about. But that's brilliant.
Now we all know exactly what it's about, don't we? Yeah,
absolute experts.
Yeah, good stuff.
There you go. Hope you guys enjoyed that too. Let us know in the comments who's going to win the NCAA March Madness.
Is your tip?
The championship. Yeah. I'm sure it'll be Duke.
I'm going to say Duke because I don't know who else.
I think Duke as well.
Yeah, probably Duke.
Anyway,
we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Cheers guys.